Welcome back to Gun Man Ballistic. Let's talk about Glocks. In the firearms world, they're like that old reliable pickup sitting in your driveway. They're not exactly eye candy, but man, they always deliver when you need them. Glocks have built their reputation on toughness. You can bury one in the mud, give it a quick shake, and it'll still run without complaint. And when it comes to aftermarket support, there are more parts and upgrades than you could count in the longest aisle of your local gun store. The options are endless. So why is it that every pistol gets stacked up against the Glock? Same reason everybody mentions duct tape when fixing something around the house, because it's everywhere, dependable, and there's always some kind of fix for whatever issue you're facing. But just because they dominate the market doesn't mean they're the perfect sidearm for everyone. Sure, a Glock is the meat and potatoes of plenty of collections, but sometimes you're craving a little extra flavor. I know I do. In today's video, we're gonna have a little fun at Glock's expense. Now, don't get it twisted, we still respect them. But truth is, Glocks have gotten a little bland lately. That's why we're running through 7 alternatives that stack up strong when it comes to features, modularity, shootability, and price. If you're feeling like your trusty Glock has lost some excitement, these pistols might be the spark you're looking for. Number 7. Springfield Hellcat Pro. Next on the list is the Springfield Hellcat Pro. If you're eyeing a Glock 43X, but aren't quite sold, the Hellcat Pro might just be the better fit. In terms of size, it's built for everyday carry, slim, compact, but still giving you 15 rounds of 9mm right out of the box. Sure, you can pick up aftermarket 15-round micro mags for the Glock 43X, but those come with extra cost. The grip is where Springfield really nails it. The texture and angle feel more natural than the Glock, which often has shooters adjusting or spending more money to get it right. And for the folks who like running optics, the Hellcat Pro is already cut and ready, something you won't find on a standard 43X. Now, the trigger might take some practice to get comfortable with, and if you're glued to Glock, moving to Springfield could feel like a jump. But when you factor in capacity, concealability, and its optic-ready design, the Hellcat Pro makes a solid case for itself. Number 6. Ruger American Pistol. Now let's move on to the Ruger American Pistol, a solid full-sized option that competes directly with the Glock 17. Right away, the price is worth pointing out. This Ruger sells for roughly half of what a Glock 17 costs, yet it brings serious performance to the table. The design emphasizes shooter-friendly ergonomics, a smart grip angle, and recoil-reducing features. Put that together, and you get a pistol that is surprisingly easy to shoot accurately, even for folks who are newer to handguns. There are a couple of downsides. Some shooters think the grip texture feels odd, and the 17-round magazine matches Glock's capacity rather than surpassing it. But those are small complaints considering the overall package. And let's not forget this handgun is designed and built in the United States. Buying one supports American workers and industry, which makes it a patriotic choice for anyone deciding between this and the Glock 17. Number 5. CZ10. Another excellent Glock 19 alternative is the CZ-10C. When it entered the striker-fired pistol market, it didn't just arrive quietly, it made a real impact. The grip design is a standout feature. With a mild palm swell and a pronounced beaver tail, the P10C feels like it was tailored for your hand. Ergonomics are about as good as it gets in this class of pistol. On performance, the CZ runs head-to-head with the Glock 19 in terms of reliability, but then it adds a cleaner, crisper trigger pull that's hard to overlook. Glock may have history and reputation, but the P10C brings fresh design elements and excellent comfort. It isn't perfect at just a touch heavier than the Glock. some shooters may notice the difference. And while its aftermarket support is still growing, it can't yet match the massive catalog of Glock-compatible parts. But what it does offer is better build quality and a more satisfying experience right out of the box. Number 4. FN 509. Now let's look at the FN 509. The first thing you notice is the grip. It feels like a firm handshake, aggressive enough to lock in without being harsh. For me, it fits just right. Capacity is another advantage. The magazine holds 17 rounds of 9mm, giving you an extra shot or two compared to Glock's compact lineup. That said, some shooters think the aggressive grip texture might rub a bit against bare skin if you're carrying concealed, but that's a fair trade for the level of control it offers. When it comes to optics, FN is ahead of the curve. The 509's mounting system for red dot sights is well engineered, and it's built to accept optics straight from the factory. That's a major edge over Glock standard pistols, unless you specifically buy their MOS versions. All in all, the FN 509 brings great ergonomics, excellent capacity, and forward-thinking optics readiness that make it a strong rival to Glock. Number 3. Sig Sauer Pre-165X Macro. The name alone tells you a lot. Macro signals that this pistol plays in a bigger league, even when stacked against the Glock 19 or the Glock 48. The first thing you notice with the X Macro is how it feels in the hand. Anyone who has ever dealt with the dreaded Glock knuckle will instantly appreciate the higher undercut and the lack of irritation here. Add in the fact that the fire control unit makes the gun modular, and you have a seriously versatile platform. The real kicker is the 17-round magazine, which leaves the Glock 48's 10-rounder in the dust, and even edges out most of the aftermarket 15-round options out there. On top of that, the built-in compensator tames recoil so well that the pistol handles like a service-sized handgun, keeping your sights flat and your follow-up shots tight. That said, Glock still has its strong points. The 48 might not have the ergonomics or the comp, but it carries decades of battle-proven reliability and an aftermarket ecosystem that SIG's still working to catch. Personally, I've never been a die-hard SIG fan thanks to the P320 sketchy track record with unintended discharges, but credit where credit's due. The Pre-165X Macro is a micro-compact that manages to outcapacity the Glock 19 while delivering a level of control and comfort you normally only see in full-size pistols. Number 2. Smith & Wesson M&P Min 2.0. Smith & Wesson's M&P Min 2.0 is a staple for good reason, and it's often the smarter buy compared to a Glock. For starters, price it generally comes in around $50 to $100 less than Glock's comparable models. Then there's ergonomics. The Min 2.02's grip texture is aggressive without being abrasive. And with interchangeable backstraps, you can tailor the fit exactly to your hand. Glock didn't offer that flexibility until much later generations. The trigger is another highlight, smoother, cleaner, and more consistent than Glock's right out of the box. With an M&P Min 2.0, you don't feel like you need to immediately spend extra cash on an aftermarket trigger just to get a decent pull. Of course, it's not perfect. Some shooters find the grip texturing a bit too rough for everyday concealed carry against bare skin, and let's be honest, there are still folks who haven't forgiven Smith & Wesson for bowing to political pressure back in the early 2000s. But purely on performance, the Min 2.0 stands out with its factory trigger and ergonomics that simply feel more natural than anything Glock offers. Number 1. Walther PDP. If you're weighing the Glock 17 against the Walther PDP, here's why Walther takes the crown. First off, magazine capacity. The PDP ships with an 18-round magazine, giving you one extra shot over the Glock 17. Ergonomics are another win. Walther has a reputation for building pistols that melt into your hand, and the PDP is no exception. Its performance duty texture gives you a rock-solid grip without shredding your clothes if you're carrying concealed. And the grip angle feels closer to a 1911, which a lot of shooters naturally prefer for instinctive aiming. But the real standout feature is the trigger. The PDP's factory trigger is crisp, light, and resets fast easily, one of the best stock triggers in the polymer-framed handgun market. Compare that to Glock's mushy standard unit, which is usually the first thing owners replace. Of course, Walther's aftermarket support isn't nearly as massive as Glock's, and the pistol is just a hair larger, which might matter for some carriers. Still, if you're looking for outstanding ergonomics, a world-class trigger, and just a little extra capacity, the PDP deserves to be at the top of the list.